What's up guys? I'm going to be doing a conversion for the Nerf Rival Fate. I have a worker kit here that converts it from rival to Stefan darts or short darts. So we'll have it so it can use talon magazines. So it should be pretty sweet. However, they didn't send me any sort of guidance on how to do the installation. I got it from Worker Mod because it was the only place I could find it available at the time, but they don't have any documentation on it at the moment. The only thing I was able to find was one image on an Amazon listing currently. So we'll try to do that, and hopefully this isn't too messed up. All right, so we'll start off here just by removing all of our screws. From what I've seen, it should be pretty straightforward. Most modern Nerf kits use the same size screw predominantly. And so either all the exact same size screws, or it might have just some shorter screws up on a rail if there is one on a blaster. I'll point out if there are any odd sized ones, but yeah, so up top here, we have one short screw right by our sight here. Second short screw. So far one here, one here. I'm assuming these two will probably be shorter as well. Yep, that's 3, 4. That looks good. Right. So there are 4 short screws on this. It's pretty obvious where they would be. They're on these thinner sections of rail type material. With this, we are going to be cutting off this section, so that's not a big deal. We actually won't need to put on likely at least 2 of those short screws, but for sure we have the one up here and then likely the one here that we'll be putting back on after. So let's see if it's gonna shoot into a million pieces. It's very awkward to try to do it and keep the blaster in frame. This just lifts off. All right, so it looks like these yellow portions are just held on using some clips. And then obviously when it's on the blaster, it's screwed on in some parts. So I'm going to take this off. Okay, so we got this guy. I'm going to remove these sight pieces as well. It seems like they're likely just gonna fall off if I don't. It has a right angle on it, so you just wanna make sure that the right angle is going towards the back when you put it back on. Just slides in, and then this guy just slides in over top of that. So it's pretty straightforward. Nothing fancy there. Let's see how much of this we can lift off in one piece. I think something might have flew off. You can kind of watch this video if anything flings about to see where it was originally. I'm gonna take this guy off just because I don't want more things falling all over the place while I'm trying to do my cuts. Same, just 2 clips on this side, so it should come off pretty easy. Okay, now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting some new internals that come in the worker kit, a new mag well that goes inside of it, as well as a muzzle portion and barrel. So with this, we need to make some cuts down here. These are the trigger guard and that little kind of pointless rail that went underneath. Since that's where the magazine is going to be going, I'm assuming we're going to have to cut off a piece of this too. Okay, so I marked where we need to cut. I tried to make it pretty obvious so you guys can see. It's 28 millimeters this way, 71 millimeters that way. From what the image looks like, it looks like where this curve is, kind of where that becomes flat is where it would start. And then you go 71 millimeters. And then like width-wise, like I said, 28. So for this, I just tried to measure 14 millimeters from the middle. On each side. That's kind of a pain. If you're slightly off or slightly on an angle, you should be able to kind of sand what you need to down afterwards and make adjustments. What you deal with when you start getting into modifying shells. Yeah, so I'm gonna cut this now and then I will come back. There we go. You can see that I cut the inside of the line. You don't want to cut more than you need if possible. If you cut less, then you'll always have extra to kind of work. But if you cut more, then it's just more difficult to add or like fill in the gap. Still doable, but just if you don't have to do that, you want to avoid that. Ta-da! That looks good enough to me. It might be a little too small, but we will find out. Okay, this is the mag weld. We see like we cut off a bunch of the, it looks like that worked pretty damn well perfectly. That's pretty good. I am pretty happy with that. Okay, so I did cut my trigger guard here, but I left one so you can see what the difference is. As well as I marked it. You want to cut about there. You don't need to cut this blocky piece here. Basically, you're just cutting slightly farther in and below that. The trigger well here does have an indent, so it goes out. So it will go underneath this to make it a bit more seamless. So you just kind of want to cut it like maybe just over a millimeter or a millimeter below the corner of this down, and just cut straight down. Let's see here, and that works pretty good. Basically, I used one side to figure this out. They don't give you any measurements in that one image instruction thing. They don't really acknowledge it much. It'll fit behind this piece, no problem. Sweet. So now I'm just gonna cut the other side. I didn't use a Dremel for cutting this side. I just used a saw kinda and just sawed down and then sanded it in. The Dremel was too hard to get in on the right angle, but whatever you prefer, it's your own preference. You can cut using whatever you want as long as the results are the same. Okay, so now there's a hole here that lines up with the piece that sticks out right here above the magazine release. So you can get that in first, and then that'll fit there pretty well. Now, from what I can see with the old unit here, what you need to do is you can take this out for now, the plunger. You can take the old tip off, and then that leaves you just with your plunger tube here. You're removing this piece. We don't need this, and don't just tear it out. You do need the piece in there that's holding it, so don't break it, don't shove a screwdriver through it, don't drill it. There is a screw, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see there in the center. There's a screw at the end there. So we're gonna unscrew that and remove this, because this new piece that comes with the kit is going to go inside there and replace this piece. So I'm gonna remove that right now so you can see. I am using a electric screwdriver here, but I'm only using it to remove screws. I'm not using it to screw anything in because you don't want to risk stripping the points where the screws go in. You have to hold the piece. Yeah. So just hold this piece here, and then while you unscrew it, and then it's very easy. There's my screw and some little bit. I don't know if I need this, I don't think so, but I'll set it aside. And that leaves you with these posts here. So from what I can see, at least in the blurry picture I have, you kind of put this with the notch on an angle and just kind of slather it. And that should be it. All right, and then I'm going to take my plunger head. Usually these O-rings are pretty loose. I'll usually put some Teflon tape underneath and add some extra grease to it. That is optional. It'll just give you better performance normally than what comes stock in the blaster. With this, if you put too much Teflon tape, you don't want that friction that you're adding, so you just want to add a little bit just to make it a bit more snug when you go in and out here. Like it feels like it's not even touching, but like that's partially because there's grease, but it's also just because of the seal. It's actually not too bad. But yeah, I'm just gonna add just a tiny bit of Teflon tape to this. Let's see, our next step after that is basically just reassembling from what I can see. So let me go Teflon tape this, and then we'll move on to reassembly. Okay, so this piece goes in over top of this orange one here, and that slots in here. And then we're going to put this trigger in. It uses a leaf spring. That's gonna eventually be a problem. So basically Nerf cheaped out and didn't use a real spring here. There's usually ways that you can get around that. I might make a video later of how to do that. I did that with the turbine previously. It goes like this. So I improved the seal a bit on this. So this catch piece goes behind these two posts here. One thing to be careful of is realize that my catch spring, which goes right in here and pushes up against the top here, did shoot off when I first opened it. That's something that can happen with a lot of different blasters. The only thing we need to add now is this piece here that comes with the worker kit. It just goes in this spot here. This slides forward. And then when you have a magazine in, the darts are up to here. This will push down on the darts and guide them into the barrel when you push it back forward to chamber it. With this, they give you no instructions at all, but I'm assuming it just slides on. Yeah, so that should be it. Put it too far forward. Like a glove. We just have our two small screws, one here. So you just go counterclockwise till you feel the thread drop in, then start screwing it in clockwise. Do that and you won't wreck your threads. The other short screw here. Let's go. That's all she wrote. I think that is a big improvement over the original blaster, looks-wise. I like this shape much better than when it went I like how it just flows into that, matches the rear of the blaster with the black here. The only thing I don't like is the tip being exposed like this. I would probably put like a scar barrel or something on it. You will be pulling it in and out, so keep that in mind, but that's pretty nice. So we pull this forward here. I got my blue talon mag that I got from Worker as well. There's your mag release. And then, so you push this back, that chambers the dart. Works. And that's it, guys. That's how you assemble this blaster. At least at the moment, there's like really poor instructions for how to do this, so hopefully that helped you out. We learned together, and I will go do some firing demonstration. FYI, the accuracy is good. I'm just awkwardly aiming with